Hey everyone, this is EDWAN and today I'm going to show you 8 of my favorite free plugins that I'm using in almost all of my tracks, and I think this can be very useful to you guys. Let me know if you want a part 2. The first plugin that I love to use, I think it's so impressive, it's the VSCO2 Orchestra. It sounds so good. It has many instruments from the whole orchestra that you can download. It's perfect if you want to create some sort of orchestral part or if you just want to make a nice layer on your track. Sounds really nice.
Nice.
The second one is called Whistler, and I know it's being used by Mike Williams, so it sounds like a whistle. Let's make a simple melody to show you how it sounds. I will ask Mozart, my producer, to create the melody and I will adjust it a little bit. Let's go, Mozart. Okay, you want to create more? There are many options on this whistler that you can use. You can increase the vibrato, the depth of the vibrato, but to make it sound a little bit more realistic. You can use the glide to create this portamento effect, which is very nice. Let's make it a bit longer. Okay. I recommend using it pretty much without any effects except some reverb and remove some of its lower frequencies to make it fit very well with other instruments. Speaking of which, I have a third instrument to show you, which is the Axillo, which is truly great. I will show you. It's also free and there are very few effects on it, very few settings you can use. Among these, you have the release. So release basically to make the notes last for longer. But it's not very effective. I recommend using it mostly like this. You could also use it. I love to use it for the chords. I just create a chord progression like this and then you can create a little groove, Control A, and then E to select everything, and then Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V. And then I suggest you use the strum option to make it sound a bit more realistic. And this is lovely juicer. I think I will move this a little bit further away.
A few moments later.
Plugin number 4, the classic delay, which is pretty great because it's free and sounds great and it's very easy to use, very easy to set up. So you have 3 types of delay. This is the cleanest one. And this one is not so clean. You have a mono setting on it, which allows you to set the delay to mono, which can be useful if you don't want to take too much space in the stereo field. The timing is the TDR Feedback Compressor 2, which is a great name for a great compressor. It has a threshold, which is easy to set up. Very nice visualization here. You can see easily how much you are compressing, which is great if you're a beginner, for example, or just if you don't want to use your ears too much when mixing, which I don't recommend so much. But as a general rule, I put the threshold all the way down. If you really want to hear the compression, you really set extreme values and you will hear it. Hear what a compressor is doing. You can hear a difference with the attack here, which is getting very short here. And it lets more sound pass through as we increase the milliseconds here. Release peak, which means like, I don't really know what it means. Yeah, you have these 2 release modes. One is more for like the overall volume, and this one is more like for only acting on peaks. What are you doing, Mozart? You wanna go out? You don't like my sounds? See you. Mozart doesn't like free plugins, that's for sure. And you have a limiter mode, which is great here, and you can change the ratio. It's very visual. And sounds great, and it looks good. So I think a very nice compressor. Also, I forgot to mention, you have this sidechain high pass filter, which means that you can, it indicates from which frequency it starts to listen to your sound. So if you only want to compress based on the higher frequencies, it will only compress based on the volume of the frequencies that are above this setting. So if you have a bass and you don't want the bass to trigger the compressor, you can increase this to like 200. Plugin number 6, the Camel Crusher, which is mostly great on bass. I can show you here on the bass. It's free and it can make your sound much richer. For example, if I use another free one, which is Flex, and let's use this one. No reverb on the bass, please. So there is a distortion setting here, which allows you to simulate some tube and I don't really know what is the mechanical distortion, but there's 2 types of distortion. Use them as you want to. A very useful low pass filter, which allows you to filter out the higher frequencies. Very useful on the bass. If you just want like this low sound from the bass, a compressor with a fat mode, which really makes the sound very dirty. and a mix knob to allow you to let some dry signal pass through it, which is very nice. Next up, we have Dominion, which is a truly great plugin for transients and for kick drums or snares, everything like that. Every drums. I use it on the kick drum of my new pack, which is Tropical Broducer Volume 1. You can get it at the link in the description below with 30% off using code broducer30. So here basically you can make the transient of your sound louder, and with this one you can act on the sustain, like what is coming after the sound. So if you want to make the sound longer, you will increase the level, increase the length in milliseconds. If you want to make your sound more peaky, like with more pop, you can use this to bring it up. For example, I will play the kick here, and I will only increase the first 36 milliseconds. I will decrease with the 2 times button here, and you can add some saturation to it if you want to, and increase some higher frequencies here. Make it longer. It is quite subtle, but I really love it. I really recommend you to use it. It's such a powerful tool. And finally, a very important one that I use on the master channel. It's a TT dynamic range meter, which is also great. It allows you to see what is the loudest volume you have in your track. It should never be above 0 decibels. You can see here it's peaking over the maximum volume, the 0 decibel. You can reset it with this knob. And you can see that if I place it after the fruity limiter acts so that it never goes above minus 0.2 decibel, which is great. You can visualize the dynamic range, that is the difference between the loudest and the quietest sound, which should be around 5 decibels in your drop. If you want it loud. Here it's quite low because it's not really... so a higher number means there is a larger difference between loud and quiet sounds, which you don't want in EDM, for example. I assume you want to produce EDM, right, guys? And finally, the RMS here is also should be around 5 to 6 decibels. It's like the average volume in your track. It's also based on commercial tracks. If you want to hit this 5 to 6 decibels, you need to compress all your sound a bit more. Okay, I will turn this into some sort of song now. I just want to try something. I will add a single reverb here, free one. Fruity reverb, which is great. And as you can see, the dynamic range went down here when I was tweaking these sounds. Thank you so much for joining for today's video. Let me know what you want to know in the comments down below. I hope this is useful to you. I have put a link to every single of these plugins in the description below. Take care, have fun producing, and of course, Merry Christmas, producers! Check out my new song, Christmas Ducer, and of course, don't forget to pray to a flstudio God!